doubt, you can clarify with him. And secondly, he is an expert in blockchain technology, and you can see that, as I told yesterday, if you put top 10 technology in Google, you can see that blockchain is also top 10 technology in 2020. If you put it in Google, you can see that this is one of the emerging technologies. After the augmented reality and virtual reality, you can see that. And hence, I don't want to take much time. And I request all the students once again to make use of this expertise. And definitely, if you practice this technology, you can go for good job, and very much opportunities are there. And I think Mr. Revant will elaborate it. So with this, I request Mr. Revant to take over this session.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. So, before going to the lecture, we need to, those who are joining from your laptops, we just need to install a very simple software. Blockchain, it's not like the AI. You just need a simple software to be installed. And first, I will walk you through the software, the installation process. Once it is running in the background, I will explain you what is blockchain, and we will start with the introduction. So let me share my screen and I will show you the installation process. I shared one Jamboard with you. I think you can see the Jamboard. The link is on the chat. So all the explanation, slides and everything will be available out there. I will use that as a whiteboard. Okay. Just a second. Okay, so Node.js is the one that we are going to use here, and Node.js is basically server-side JavaScript. You must be knowing JavaScript. You would have worked on JavaScript in your academics also. JavaScript is basically used to design, develop websites and write the logical part in the backend, right? So every button click that you are doing on any website, it is built using JavaScript. The buttons that we're using. Okay, I will give the Jamboard access. Just wait a second. I'll give access to it. So JavaScript is basically used to build various different websites, and you can just go through that and learn it. But Node.js is also you can say it is a different kind of JavaScript, which is used to build the server. So normally you have a client, server, and database, right? That is how your software architecture would be. So let me show you something. If you take this is very basic. If you take a normal web application, you'll be having a client server who acts as a middleman, and you'll be having a database, right? I'm talking about normally in blockchain. Database doesn't exist. We'll come to that when we talk about blockchain. So normally client server and database and the communication will be two ways. Okay, so your client is nothing but the one that you access in your browser, right? So if at all you want to open Gmail, so what you do, you just go to gmail.com, and whatever you see on the screen is basically built by using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And normally server you build with Java or PHP or any other language, .NET or C sharp or anything. And database you may use SQL, MySQL, or there is the new one which is MongoDB. So these are the various different technologies which are there. But Node.js is something very latest, and Node.js is very high in demand in the market currently. A normal engineering graduate or a computer applications graduate, you may, after 1 year of experience or 2 years of experience, if you're experienced in Node.js, you will definitely get a package of more than 15 lakhs. That is the minimum one. And if you take Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Facebook, Amazon, and all the websites, the literally every website that you are seeing currently in the market will definitely have Node.js in the background. And one more very important thing is, Java, right? Java, .NET, and all that. Java is not open source. .NET is not completely open source. Both are not. But Node.js is open source, and it is even more efficient than Java and .NET. So the complete industry from the last 5 years is currently moving towards, taking Node.js into consideration to build the servers. That is how it is, and it is very high in demand skill currently in the market. Okay, and you are going to work on Node.js as well in this particular blockchain workshop. So if at all someone asks you what exactly is this, so you can just say that Node.js is a server side JavaScript. Okay, that is Node.js for you, right? So the concepts and all are, they are based on JavaScript only. What are the concepts that the way you write the program and all is totally similar to JavaScript. There will be slight modifications, that's it. So let us install that first, and we need to, so go to this link. I'll send you this link, don't worry. Nodejs.org. This is totally open source, so anyone can download it on any system. So just click on the link that I sent you. You would find the availability of Node.js for multiple platforms like Windows installer, binary, Linux, and for the Mac OS. Depending on your bit of, if anyone is having problem identifying whether yours is 32-bit or 64-bit, let me know. I'll walk you through how to identify which bit operating system is yours. Okay, so mine is 64-bit. I actually installed Node.js on my system. It is already available. So I would just download the which bit. So for Windows operating systems, go with Windows installer only, not Windows binary. Go with Windows installer. For Mac OS, who are using MacBook, go with the Mac OS installer, not the binary, the third one that you are seeing here. And you have, if you are on Ubuntu or any other Linux distribution systems, you can go with Linux binaries. Okay. So just download it first. I think it would be around 200 MB or so. That is the size of the file. So it is, yeah, sorry, it is just 18 MB. That's it. Okay. It won't take much time. So first of all, we will check whether Node.js is properly installed or not, and I'll walk you through the installation process. I hope everyone is able to download this node here. Okay. If anyone have any issues downloading, let me know. Okay. So yeah, I think everyone is able to download it. So just once downloaded, just click on this installer. This is a direct installer. You don't need to do anything. So I will walk you through the installation process. If at all you have any issues, it will be rectified. Just click on that installer or double click on it somewhere. So it will show this. It will show this wizard to install the Node.js modules. It may take some time computing the space requirements, but whoever is getting the option next, it is just a simple installation. Next, and finish. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. Just click on next, and finish. That's it. Okay. If anyone is stuck with any step, just let me know. I'll help you. Normally, it is just a very simple installation process. Okay. So the setup will install Node.js. Yeah, I'm clicking on next, accept the terms, and it is very straight away. Uh, you no need to check this. Just click on next. It will ask automatically install necessary tools. Note this will also install Chocolatey. If you want to install it, you can do it. If you don't want, that is also fine. It is not much important for us. Go to next and click on install. So this wizard will install the complete Node.js on your system. Let the process go in the background. Okay, and minimize it. We will come to the actual blockchains discussion. So what exactly is blockchain, and why should we use it, and why it is a trending technology currently? And basically, blockchain is very old. It is not something which just came up like artificial intelligence. The blockchain technology is pretty old, but people now realized the importance of it. I'll tell you why exactly they had to, realize why they should go with blockchain. Okay. I'll explain you this with very simple examples. I don't want to even show very big presentations here. So normally, let's say you have a bank account. Okay. A simple bank account. And do you know this SBI has a regulation saying you should maintain a minimum balance of 3,000. I think it is not there currently, but they kept that regulation. Like I think it was there till last year, right? You need to maintain a minimum balance. So do you think it is fair for a bank who's making money out of our savings? Means how do bank work? They take our money, they give us a very less interest rate of 6%, and they give loans to other people, again us people like us only, and they give it for an interest rate of 14%, 9%, 10%. It basically starts from 8%. So they, if you give money to them, they'll give you 6%. If they give money to someone, it is 8%. The 2% is the margin, that is their profit. With that money they work. So basically it is your savings which are helping the bank to survive on their own. And the reason why 3,000 rupees minimum balance was maintained is because of some bad decisions of the bank. They gave loans to very big people, and they flew away from the country. So it is their mistake, but we were the people who paid price for it, isn't it? And one more thing is, so it is. Do you think it is a fair deal? So banks, the main problem with banks here is authority. Not only just banks. Take any company. Let's take let us take Amazon Prime Video or Netflix. Okay, so they are basically, why do you even use them? And first of all, tell me, why do you even go to bank? Because they just maintain a single record of transactions, right? Name, money. And do you agree if I say that a bank itself is a single ledger? Let us take that there are crores of people on one end, 100 crore people. These all people will give money to the bank. So everyone does they deposit in the bank and take money from the bank. Everyone will be having their own statement of what exactly the transactions that they are doing. And what these banks do, these banks will give loans to individuals and companies. Even it give loans to governments, correct? And they make profit out of it, right? So what if I say that, let us take there is a bank. What if the bank just deletes entire record of uh, all the transactions, right? So normally how your banks would be there, how the data is stored in a bank? Any idea how data is basically stored? If you take any kind of a bank, they will be having a central database, right? And as a customer, you access that information from the database. Means whenever you log in your internet banking or mobile banking, they just show you whatever the money that you have. Will you agree if I say that the data the data which is stored in the databases of the bank is in the control of whom? Who controls the data of a bank? The bank itself. Bank controls everything. Who is bank? If I ask you who is administration of bank, they are humans only. They are people only. Have you heard the news? A few of the officials of the heads of ICICI Bank or various different banks, they commit fraud. They commit money laundering. They commit various. So they are just people like us. It is not something which is from the Mars or Jupiter. They are not ideal, right? So mistakes can happen. And what if this bank, let us say, this bank is having a money of savings of 1,000 crore, and yeah, and there are loans of 50 crore. Means what? The bank is having a credit of nearly 950 crore. Means they have this much of money with them, this much of assets with them. What if, as this bank controls this data, what if they just delete everything and go away and they just vanish? What will happen? Don't you think that it happened before also? A lot of banks actually just got disappeared, right? So the problem here is, the main problem, the basic problem here is when it comes to the technological implementation or normal implementation. So the entire control on the data, the complete control on the data is vested with the people who are centralized, and here the data is centralized. This is centralized information. Who controls Amazon? Amazon, the company itself, controls it, right? Whatever products I need to display, what how much price I need to keep and all, they decide, right? So what is the problem with this kind of systems? Are even government also, even if you take your central government or state government, they are central only. The entire power is given to a set of people, right? But we think that it is completely organized, but it is not actually organized, right? So the power is vesting with people who may commit a fraud. So here, when you talk about the technological implementation, so normally you will be having a simple database where the complete information is stored, and you will be having a server, right? Even if you take a bank called FBI, FBI is a bank. I cannot use the names directly. So let's say FBI is a SFBA is a bank, let's say, and you'll be having the server, and this database access means the password and everything will be known to the person who is belonging to the bank, and this server will be connected to billions and billions of people who are actually using or taking the services of the bank. So if this is gone, this entire thing is gone if the data is corrupted. Same thing is happening with Facebook also. You're putting entire information of yourself on Facebook, and Facebook can actually commit a fraud. And they did that in the previous election when Donald Trump was contesting. When do you know that they manipulated the entire election? They actually cheated on the entire election, right? Just based on the data which is there on the Facebook's information. So the solution for this is, so this is called centralization. Okay, this is centralization. The solution for that is decentralization. Just do the opposite. Forget about blockchain. Blockchain comes later. Okay, so what is decentralization? I'll tell you a simple concept. You may get a lot of doubts here, so I'll clarify everything. So in this approach of decentralization, before going there, I will tell you a few things. So let us see the previous way of storing data. Let us take, you have a website or a web application. We look for a technological implementation perspective. So you have your web got evolved from web 1.0, web 2.0, and web 3.0. Okay, so what is the difference here is the way we build the architecture of how the data is accessed. So previously we used to have servers, right? We used to have uh, multiple server. Let's say you want to host your college website. The single website can be implemented in multiple different ways. If it was used with web 1.0, you will be having servers, means big processing units. Your data will be on these huge computers, or you can also call them as virtual data store, and then you directly give it to the students or teachers. I'm talking about your college's website. But later in web 2.0, what happened was you have cloud. Why cloud? Because the scalability of the data can be done, means you can store enormous amount of information. You don't need to have hardware. right? You don't need to maintain a server. Maintaining a server is a very big task. Do you know that? You need to have a server admin, you need to have a very huge computer and all that. So instead of that, you can just maintain a cloud, and you deploy your application. Let's say you have a web application that can be directly deployed on the cloud, and this is your cloud computing basically, and you give this to multiple people. They can access directly. Examples for this is, one of the best example is Netflix or Amazon. These are perfect examples for cloud. Even your Facebook or most of the applications now currently we are using is cloud based. And this is the, and here in these both cases, in these two cases, if you observe something, the data is at a single place. Either it is cloud or a virtual computer, right? But here in Web 3.0, what we do is we basically, so this is important. So what we do here is we will be having multiple computers at multiple different locations in the world, and no one knows where they are. They'll be totally anonymous. All these computers will be there interconnected with each other, and the applications that you develop here are no more web applications. They are decentralized applications. They are also called as dapps. Means what? Will you agree if I say that Netflix is an application? We use Netflix, right? Netflix is an application where you watch movies. Where is the data of Netflix is stored? Netflix is actually using AWS. Have you ever heard about AWS? AWS is the Amazon Web Services. It is from Amazon, right? So it is Amazon Cloud, like AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure Cloud. These are the tools that are used in cloud computing. So all the data is hosted on AWS. Similarly, you can develop another version of Netflix where the data is no need to be not needed to be stored on cloud. You can actually decentralize the data means your data won't be there in a single point. It will be everywhere. You may ask me, sir, if the data is everywhere, it is even more tough that data can be stolen or data can be deleted and all that. So I'll come to that. So just let us first go with the implementation part. So this is a decentralized network. I'll explain with an example why exactly we need to go with decentralized network. And in web 3.0, so these dapps will be there, and these dapps will be used by people directly. And whatever the kind of data that they receive to them will directly come from. If you look at, it will come from you really don't know where your data will come from, right? It is everywhere. So so the basic confusion for you could be like, okay, previously the data is at only one place. Now you're saying that the data is at multiple places. Decentralized. Decentralizing means what? Decentralization of power, one of the element in our constitution also. So what is decentralization? If you take villages and all, most of previously they used to be decentralized. Like a particular village will have its own administration. If they need something, they do it on their own. They collect the funds and develop their own village. They are totally independent, and they are not much concerned about the centralized power or the centralized government which is there in the state or at the district level. That is decentralization. So why exactly will decentralized system is efficient? Okay, let us discuss that now. So why decentralization? I'll discuss this with an example. Okay, this is centralized. Let us consider there are two friends. One guy's name is Ravi, other guy's name is Revant. Okay, these two are very best friends. And one more thing is, will you agree if I say that, do you know this something called a ledger? Have you ever heard about this ledger? So what I'm considering is, we maintain ledgers when we everyone nowadays, as we are completely online, you're getting your bank statement. So basically most of us don't even write our transactions, because once you refer to the bank statement, means you will get everything, how you are spending, how much money you're getting, how much money is going from your pocket. So even your bank statement is a ledger only. It is one form of ledger where you will be having amount that you receive, amount that you give. So these two friends are very best friends, and so forget about Raven. Ravi is a very rich guy, and he's into business. He maintains a ledger whenever. So in this ledger, normally what will be having? So reason for spending money and what is the amount. Okay. So every time Ravi has this habit of entering multiple transactions, like whenever he gets money or whenever he gives money, he will record the transaction. That is his, and he don't miss to record the transaction. Okay, so let me change this name from Ravi to Ram. Okay, okay. Now Ram is basically a guy who will enter everything in a ledger, and it is his own ledger, right? Now on, listen carefully, on 5th September 2001. Okay, Revant came to Ravi and he asked him, Ravi, I want 50,000 rupees and I will return to you within 2-3 months. Ravi is a very busy guy, he's a rich guy, and he's whenever he gives money he just notes it, whenever he gets money he notes it in the ledger itself. And moreover, even it happens with us, whatever the money transaction that you do just before 5 days or even 3 days, we don't even remember, isn't it? And that is why we maintain this record. And then when Revant asked for this let's say $50,000 or INR, Ravi gave that money on 5th September 2001. Okay, in his ledger, this is Ram's ledger. Okay, he wrote on 5th September 5th September 2001, he noted a transaction that he gave 50,000 rupees to Revant. Okay, on his ledger. So time passed, and now today the date is, let's say now it is 2015. So Ravi actually forgot, because he's a rich guy. It is just 50,000 rupees. He forgot that he gave money to Revant, and 2015. In 2015, after like 14 years, they met. So all the while there will be multiple transactions noted, right? You can just imagine how many transactions will be there. Let us consider on 19th June 2015 they met. When Ravi asked, or when Ram asked Revan that, he suddenly remembered that he gave money to him in 2001. He asked him, he asked Revant, like, Revant, I gave you money, 50,000 rupees. Then you didn't, I think you didn't return me. But Revant replied saying that I returned you on 6th June 2002, and this is debit transaction. I credited you 50,000. He said, Raven said. Then what will Ravi do? Obviously, he will go back to the ledger. He will check the ledger whether this information is correct or not. Right? So he actually checked, and this transaction is available. Listen carefully. This is what we do in everyday life. Whenever there is an entry of a transaction, means the transaction is completed, isn't it? If you take a bank, or if you even take a your friend's normal friend to friend transaction or anything, if a transaction is noted and signed off, it means the transaction is done. Whether the money, it is not about the money, it is not about currency here. A transaction is nothing but a small entry somewhere. It could be a book, it could be a ledger, it could be on a mobile phone, it could be on a centralized database, it could be a bank. So a transaction is done only when the entry is made. And if the entry is saying that credit, we tend to believe the entries, and that is what our banks are doing. Let us say one fine day, we don't even observe this basically. Let's say you have a balance of 2000, 20,001 rupee. And the next day you found out that your balance is 20,000. Will you even complain about this? We don't complain about it, right? It is just 1 rupee. What if the same bank takes that 1 rupee from all the people? So I'm not saying that banks will do that, but whatever the balance that you are seeing, it is just a number. If the number changes, means if the number is low, you have less money. If the number is high, you have more money. So it is about digits. That's it. So one thing that you need to note here is number one, Ram is relying upon a ledger. Ram is relying upon a ledger which is only one. Okay, and he trusts that information. He trusts it. Whatever is there in the ledger, he trusts it. But the basic problem here is, don't you think that this entry can be made by Revant when Revant comes to Ram's home? It can be done. I'm not saying that it cannot be done or it is impossible, but it is at least 2% possible. Agree? Similarly, will you agree if I say that a database of a bank can be easily hacked? Databases can be hacked, and forget about hacking also. Forget about hacking. Okay, consider an ideal scenario that database of a bank cannot be hacked. It is very secured. I agree. What if the bank itself deletes the information or changes the information? That can be done or not? Obviously, it can be done. Or the bank can use your data, just like Facebook uses your data or Google uses your data. You can use your data, and they may try to manipulate you, or they may try to fool you by showing you hatred information or anything, right? So the main problem here is trusting a single data store. That is a basic problem here. Now, coming back to the story, in 2015, this is the conversation happened. In 2020, what happened was Ram and Revant, they went to a bar. They drank. They drank a lot. They drank until a point where Revant lost his senses. you know, just imagine. So they were good friends, right? So they were just chilling. He totally lost his conscience, and he revealed a fact that, Ram, I didn't return you 50,000 rupees. I came to your home. I took the book where you write the transactions, and I just on after 1 year, on 2002 6th June, your book is empty. So I just made this transaction to make you believe that I actually gave you the money. That is a revelation that he did in 2020. Then Ram realized that he's so dumb and he wanted to become smart. So now what Ram did was he hosted a party, okay, not to celebrate his foolishness, but he hosted a party, and he called 10 different friends to the party. Okay, this example is very important, guys. And so this guy is Ram. Now he gave what Ram did was he bought, let's say, one, two, three, four, five, six. There are six people in the party. Okay, he invited 10 people, only six people came. Okay, I cannot draw more number of diagrams here. So there are six people. So what he did was Ram went to a bookstore. He bought six empty ledgers. Okay, and he gave okay, these guys ate dinner and they were actually talking to each other, and he gave all these six books to six different people. And these people are, one is from US, one is from UK, one is from Bangkok, one is from Australia, one is from Africa, and one is from Delhi, let's say. He invited all of them. He gave these empty books to them, and he also kept a book with him. Okay, this black colored one is the book, or you can even call it as a ledger. And what he did was, at the end of the party, we talk a lot, right? So what he did was, guys, you're my family and you're my friends. So I'm giving you these empty books. So take these books to your home. And from tomorrow, whenever I do a transaction, whether I give money to someone or take money from someone, I will create a small group on WhatsApp. Okay, and I will send you a message that I sent money to one person or I sent money to someone. I will note it on my book also, and at the same time I will send you that information. Whenever you get a message, you take this book and write the transaction, and I will do it every time. Ideally I will do it every time. Whenever I give money, even it is 1 rupee, I will call you, or I will just broadcast this message on the WhatsApp group. And you just need to note it. You don't do anything, just note it. For noting itself, I'll pay you money. Okay, just imagine this case. For noting itself, for every transaction I'll pay you something. Let's say the transaction is 100 rupees, I'll pay you 0.1% of the transaction amount to you. You just keep these books with you. Now what will happen is, if you observe something in this particular scenario, basically there are no how many books are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 books are different, but the data is the same on each and every book. Agree? And each and every book is a ledger, so the data is the same on every book. Can I say that it is shared data? Yes or no? It is shared information, and I can also call it as a shared ledger. So the complete information in this entire system, with all these seven people, the information, you need to make sure that information is the same all the time. You may say that, sir, what if the person misses that message? Let's say there is this sixth person. What if he missed to see the text what is sent by Ram? Even we will handle that scenario also. That we will discuss. What happens if he doesn't get the information that Ram is sending? We will discuss that scenario later. So these six people will basically get this complete information, and they will store the information. You may ask me, what is the benefit of this information? What is the benefit of this? Let us consider a scenario where now Revant wants to change the information. Revant wants to cheat Ram. In this case, what Revant need to do, he can actually go back and change this data, just like the way he, modified this information. He can do that, but he can only do here. Let's say he want to change the information, he may change here, but now you cannot believe only one book, right? Now you need to trust the data on all the books because it is shared information. Let us say there is a transaction which is available here, but it is not available here. It means what? There is some disturbance in the data. There is something wrong with this data, or the data is basically corrupted. It could happen, right? Or if the information is here, if the information is the same everywhere, then it means what? The data can be trusted. If not, no. And one more thing. Let us say Revant wanted to burn the book of Ram. He just wanted to burn the book. Means what? In the previous scenario, the centralized scenario, what will happen? Your entire data is gone. If the book is gone, your entire data is gone. Because there is only a single data store, but not the multiple copies are not available there, isn't it? So let us say in this case, let us say I basically, Revant went and killed this guy in US. Consider he killed this person. Is your data gone? No. Still, you can retrieve the data from here, here, or here, or here, or here. Your data is nowhere gone. So, considering all these scenarios, you will get, we can actually summarize a few points. Number one is, first, you can establish trust, because see, trust can be established even it is very simple, right? Let us say if you don't believe a person, you ask 3 4 people around him on what exactly is the fact. If everyone is saying the same, then it is a fact. If everyone is lying, that is a different case. That is called a 51% attack in blockchain. I'll come to that. We'll discuss that also. So if multiple people are saying the same thing, means the trust is established. And one more thing is, the data here is, data cannot be lost, because your decentralized system makes sure that the data is available everywhere. You may ask me, sir, you're creating copies of data, then it may cause data redundancy. But no, the implementation, when you discuss about the implementation part of it, though there are multiple copies of data, though it occupies a lot of memory or space, still that data is used. It is not redundant. Though you are storing information at multiple places, the data will be reused. So it won't be lost basically. So that is one. And one more thing is, power is not at a single place. Now consider a reverse scenario where Ram wanted to cheat Revant, not Revant. Ram wanted to cheat that, though Revant already paid. Let's say this transaction, let's say this transaction on 6th June 2002 actually happened, but Ram deleted this information because it is his own book, right? He can do anything with his book, and he can just say that, Revant, you didn't pay because it is not on my book. Means what? Even the owner of the information can cheat. Then what you need to do? If that information belongs to public, there shouldn't be a owner at all. That is what decentralization says. There won't be a single power who will own the information. Okay. So these are major benefits for us, right? Because you will attain data privacy. You can actually trust multiple people than a single one, and there is no power vested with only one person or a one company. Or see, a company means what? Board of directors and the shareholders. If they want to cheat you, they can easily cheat you. So that is the main problem now, and a lot of scams are happening just because of that. And one more thing is privacy of information. Currently, even if you do a single transaction on your credit card or a debit card, it is basically exposed to multiple nations who can actually look at that information and understand what you're doing. There is no data privacy now if it is a centralized database. These are the current problems and very basic problems that even a common man is facing, right? To solve all this, as I mentioned, we there are two things that you need to understand here. One is shared ledger, and the other one is decentralization. Okay, what is this shared ledger? The shared ledger, you understood, right? Why exactly we need to share the information across multiple people but not only one? The shared ledger is nothing but blockchain. And why exactly block, why exactly chain, we will discuss that later. And decentralization is a, this is basically a, this is not a technology, block. I don't consider blockchain as a technology. It is not a technology, it is not a separate technology, it's not. It is just a philosophy of data. It is just the way you store the data, that's it. Even if you see the comparison between web 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0, what is the only thing that changed? Nothing got changed. The only the way of implementing the data storage mechanism changes. The rest all is the same. There is nothing new here. So blockchain is not something which is a kind of a rocket science, right? If you say machine learning, that that is totally new. Artificial intelligence is totally new, but blockchain is not. You are just changing the way you are storing the information, huge information about a company or about a bank or even. And moreover, you can implement, move any application. Now let us say, if you want to make Amazon decentralized, you can do that. You can build something like Amazon as a decentralized platform where no one knows who's buying what, and they are already existing. I'm not saying that they will come in next 10 years or 20 years. Okay, so that is how. Just a second, guys. So that is decentralization for you. And in this particular workshop, what I will do is, I'm sure you must be like, how to implement this. There could be a lot of security concerns and all. I know that. So we will be looking how this implementation can be done. We are going to build a small prototype on how blockchain can be implemented with programming. Okay, so very simple. Though it took a lot of explanation for me, but it is very simple. It is just like you taking the information and storing the information in a way where no one actually owns the information. Okay, let me share this Jamboard with you. I will make this public so that everyone can be able to access it. Anyone with this link. Okay, I'm sending you one link on the chat, so get that link. We will take a 5-minute break and we'll get back. We will start off with the programming part. just keep these thoughts in mind and just refer to the board. We are just decentralizing the information, and we will look at how exactly a shared ledger would be implemented. That is the discussion. Okay, I'll see you after 5 minutes.
Students, you can download the Jamboard link and you'll be ready for further process. The link is available in the chat box. Click that the link and download it.
Okay, everyone, let us get started. So first of all, we need to check whether Node.js is installed correctly or not. Okay, we'll understand whether Node.js is properly installed. So for that, I will show you how to verify. Everyone, please go on mute. So to verify whether it is installed or not, follow these steps. Go to Start and write CMD. Okay, I'm hearing some background noise. Everyone, please go on mute. So go to command prompt, open normal command prompt, and write this command to verify whether Node.js is installed or not. Just write node space node space -v, node space -v, and press on enter. Then you will see some number here. That number can be anything. For me, it will be different. For me, it is 12.19.0. For you, it could be different. Okay. If you're able to see this, it means that Node.js is correctly installed on your system. Okay, if you're not able to see this, then it means if at all you see a command like node is not recognizable, or if any command is not recognizable, then it means whatever uh, whatever you installed, it is not proper. You need to reinstall it. Okay, means it is working now. Okay, please verify this. I'll give you 2 minutes. Just open command prompt and run this command. I'm sending this command on the chat as well. It is node space -v. This is the verification command. Okay, so once this is done, what you need to do is we are going to write the code, and I'll also show you the code implementation here. So for that, you need to have a code editor. You can use any editor. So I will give you two options. One is Notepad++, or Notepad++ is fine actually. So just download this. I'll send you this link. I'm sending you this link. See, you can download 7.9 version. Okay. If you open that, it will show you this link. I'm sending you one more link. Just click on download. I sent you one latest link. See, Is a direct link to download this file. So download 64-bit or 32-bit according to your system requirements. Okay, please do the download and install it. I already downloaded it. It is available on my system. You can see that. So once you install it, it is not just Notepad. It is Notepad plus plus. It can be used as code editor. Very simple one to use. Even if you are having any other editor, that is fine. Not it is not compulsory that you should use this only. Okay, you can use any. Okay. So yeah, once you install it, just open it and keep it ready. We will go with the programming part. Just ignore all this. We'll open the editor like this. Okay. Now see, go to your desktop. Come to your desktop. The first step that we are going to do here is to create a file directory. Okay, where you're going to store all your JavaScript files. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I will go to new. Okay, guys. So create a new folder and name it as blockchain application. Okay. Look here. Do it in camel case. So I sent you the name. Okay. Once you create this folder, keep it aside. We will come back to this later. First of all, we will write the code. Okay. So so before going to write the code, I will tell you one implementation. Remember, this is very important. We are going to discuss about the shared ledger. Okay. So I'm going to show you structure of blockchain. So normally, as I told you, it is just a ledger, right? As I told you, it is just a small record of information, isn't it? Agree? It is just a small ledger, how your ledger looks like. Don't get confused. Blockchain is very simple to understand. You normally write a table. Just imagine a table. Even your database tables also, you will be having an organized form of information, right? So let us say it is like Ram sent 50,000 to Revant. This is one transaction. Okay. Will you agree if I say that this is a transaction, a small transaction, right? Likewise, Shyam sent 5,000 to Sita. Let's say Shiva sent 10,000 to someone, XYZ. These are transaction 1, transaction 2, transaction 3. Okay. Even in blockchain also, it will be stored like the same, but implementation is little different. Now what happens is, a blockchain, you need to imagine blocks. And what is each and every block? So what we are going to do here is, listen, each and every transaction is there now. So we are going to build a shield around these transactions. Let us say there are 3 different transactions here. So I will build a shield around these transactions. Okay. And I will add some layers to this shield. Layer number 1. Okay. One value. I will tell you what these layers are. Layer number 2. Likewise, layer number 3. You may ask me what exactly these layers do. Is these offer security and encryption. So we need to look horizontally, and all the transactions here, let us say these 3 transactions, the data will be stored here, like transaction 1, block. Will you agree if I say that these 3 transactions, it is nothing but data? I can call it as data that I want to secure. Okay. And it can be, the data that you want to secure can be bank transactions, it can be college fees transactions, it can be a record of college records or anything. If you want to store the data, you can store it in any manner, right? So it can be anything. And around this data, this whole thing is called a block. This block will consist of 1, data, number 2, hash, I'll tell you what hash is. We'll discuss that. Don't worry about this terminology now. I will show you how to generate this whole thing. You will have data, you will have hash, you will have something called nonce. All these together, so hash will be another layer here to this data, and nonce can be one other layer to it. It is not that it should be in this sequence only, but it can be in any sequence. All this collaboratively is called a block. Okay, likewise, I can store transaction for transaction. You may ask me, sir, on what basis I will decide that how many transactions should be in a single block. We will discuss that also. There is a condition for that. We will discuss that. A group of transaction, a group of one or more transactions is called a block, and each and every block will consist of data that you want to secure, hash, and nonce. These three. So you have these transactions, you have this shield around this particular thing, and this whole thing will consist of a block. And why, you may ask me, sir, why is it called as a chain? It is a chain because every block is connected with each other. Every block is connected to an adjacent block. I will also tell you what this connection is, why you should have that connection. So if you invert this, just imagine in your brain, if you invert this, will it look like a table or not? It will look something like a ledger. Can you imagine this way? Is there any difference? And this whole thing will be your ledger only. You will be having transaction 1, transaction 2, transaction 3. So a lot of people actually get confused. Array, my table is in a vertical manner. This is horizontal. Is it something different? No, it is not anything. Anyway, it is not different at all. In any manner, it is the same. So you basically store this in a bunch of information. Okay, and each and every thing here. This is block 1, block 2, block 3, and each and every block that you have here, if you see, every block here will be having hash, nonce, and timestamp. What is timestamp? It is a time during which your block is created. That is your timestamp. Okay, you may ask me, sir, why exactly do I need to store this information like this? Is because if you are having hash, means it is highly secured. It is basically encrypted form of information. I'll also show you how you need to generate the hash, on which kind of algorithm we need to use to generate hash. Okay, now I already told you that this is a shared ledger, isn't it? Okay, this is a shared ledger. Means what? The same ledger is available everywhere. So go back to the example of RAM, what we discussed. So now look at the beauty. So the same data, the same shared ledger will be available with everyone. Okay, hash, nonce, and timestamp. So these three are the parameters that we are going to implement. And can I say that if at all, if at all I am having, now let us convert this whole thing into programming. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So can I just say that a block is a data structure? It is a simple data structure. which will store data. Normally, what is in which format your data will be. So let us say, like I told you that every block is a will be having will be a single data type, and every block is connected to each other. Do you know this array? What is an array? An array is a collection of similar elements. Will you agree? And what are these elements here? It is not elements, it is blocks. Means the data type that is used to store blocks is an array. And how do you define arrays? You define it in a square bracket, isn't it? Okay. So in the first program, what we are going to do is, in the program, we are going to create an array, an empty array, which will later be filled with blocks. Now just forget everything. Forget everything. Just imagine that a block is nothing but a simple data structure of information. It can be any information. It can be a transaction information, it can be music, it can be a video, it can be anything. What is data? It can be in text format, it can be numericals, it can be anything, right? So literally anything you can store in a array. And the data structure, now tell me, which kind of data type do you use if you want to store multiple kinds of information in a single thing? Array is a collection of similar things, but what is the data type that you use to store different kinds of data types? Any example? Can I say object? Do you know object? Have you heard about object? It can even you would have heard this in JavaScript before. In JavaScript, it is called as an object. In Python, what is it called? It is called as a dictionary. In the AI workshop, we discussed about this dictionary. Remember? So now what I'm going to do is I will create an array to store these dictionaries or these objects inside this particular array. Okay, so your blockchain is an array. Each and every block is an object. So your data structure will look something like this. So initially, so this is the base implementation of your data set. Okay, I think I'm done with all these 20 things. Okay, let me create a new one. Now see, you are going to create an empty array. This is the implementation. This is an empty array, and inside this you will be having objects. You write objects in curly braces, isn't it? These are multiple objects inside this. Okay, so coming to the programmatic implementation of this, what we are going to do is I'm going to create a, come to your notepad plus plus, open notepad, open a new file. I'm going to create one function. Have you heard about object oriented programming before? Object oriented OOPS concepts. We are going to discuss OOPS here. So I'm going to create a function called blockchain. Okay, and in this function I'm going to write a local variable. This is how you write a local variable. You write it like this dot. In Python, it is self dot. If at all you're writing object oriented class or something, actually this is not actually a function. Basically, this is a class. Okay. So in this class, I'm going to write this dot chain. Chain is nothing but a group of elements. A group of blocks is a blockchain, or you can, if you want to write it as a blockchain, you can write it. I'm just naming it as a chain. And a chain is an array. This is how we, so what you're doing here, initial, it's not initializing actually, declaring an array. Okay. And I want to, I want to create one more variable here called transactions. Declaring transactions. So what I'm going to do here is, you may ask me, sir, what are you trying to build? You are going to build a sample prototype of a decentralized application which will store financial transactions. Okay, it will store financial transactions just like your bank. That is the kind of prototype we are going to build. So what I did here programmatically is I just wrote a function. Okay, for now it is just a small function in JavaScript, and in that particular function I'm declaring two local variables of this function, that is this dot chain, it is an array, this dot transactions, it is an array. Okay, now once you write this code, save this code as, go to save as, and we created one folder now, blockchain application. Go to that folder and write blockchain.js. I'm sending you the file name. Use .js so that, as I told you, we are going to write JavaScript here. The reason why I chose JavaScript is because JavaScript is, Node.js is basically the best way to implement your blockchain. You can do it with Python, but it is not efficient. So for artificial intelligence, use Python. For blockchain, use Node.js. There is something called Ethereum also. You can use Ethereum as well. So give the name blockchain.js to this and save this file in blockchain application. Okay. Write this code. Now, so have you ever heard about inheritance? Inheritance is one concept in object-oriented programming. Inheritance, instantiation, and there are various different concepts in OOPS itself. So inheritance is something which is like inheriting the properties of a particular function. If at all you are inheriting a property from a function, that function is called as a constructor. So the function that you wrote here is basically a constructor function. And now I will show you how to implement object-oriented programming in JavaScript. Okay, and if you observe something, the function name here that I used starts with a capital B. Means it is a class. You can just consider it as a class. I just created a class, and now I'm going to write a function which inherits the properties of that particular class. So blockchain is a parent function. Okay, line number 1, you actually declared a parent function. Now I'm going to write the child functions by saying blockchain.prototype. This is prototyping in object-oriented programming in JavaScript. And I'm going to write a new function here called create new block is equal to, this is a simple function declaration, and a function, and I'm going to end the brackets. This is an empty function now. So the name itself indicates that this function, what is a function by the way? Set of tasks. So by using set of tasks, I will be creating a new block. So means what? The parent function will provide you the space to store the blocks in the chain and also the transactions. And this create new block function will actually help you to create new block every time. Okay, that is how it is. So next we are going to talk about how we are going to create this new block. Please write this code. I'll continue with the next part. So how do we create this new block? If you come back to the explanation that we discussed, see this particular square box, this box is a chain, and each and every object which is enclosed in the curly braces, this is block. Now how to make this block, and in this curly braces, in this data structure, which elements will be present? How do I make it? So this object of blocks, so this is a block. Now I'm going to show you in a block of a blockchain, what will you need to write? If you observe something in the previous slide, I told you what will be consisting in a block. As I told you, it will consist of data, it consists of hash, it consists of nonce. These are the main elements. So how do I convert this into a program? So first of all, let us understand how this object will be made. So first you need to write timestamp, at what time it is created. This is one variable. As I told you, an object is nothing but a collection of multiple data types, and it is represented in key value pair. What is a key value pair? You would have heard about this when you learnt about JSON or JavaScript. What is JSON? JavaScript object notation, right? Or even in dictionary of Python dictionaries, we will use the same format. What is the time? What is the index? Means the number of the block. What is data? See, data or transactions, both are the same. Okay, transactions or data. You can also, if you want to name it as data, you can name it. Next hash, next nonce. This is what your object will consist of, and this is nothing but your, this whole thing is nothing but your block information. If I write it programmatically, how it will look like is var block info is equal to, now I'm going to write an object. In this block info, I will have index, I will have timestamp, I will have transactions, I will have what else? Hash. These are all keys. In a key value pair, these are all the keys. Keys means the left hand side ones, and in addition to that, you will be having something called previous block hash. This is the block info. You may ask me, sir, which values do you want to assign to these? I will show. We will talk about that later. So this is an object, and once I create this object, what I'm going to do is I will Look at this. This is very important. Once I create this object, I will write this dot chain dot. What is this dot chain? It is the blockchain. It is initially empty. I'm going to write push block info. What is push? What does dot push do in JavaScript? Anyone? This is one of the basic function in your JavaScript. What does it do? It will add an element to the last position of the array. Dot push. That is the functionality. Means what? Once you are creating the block info, you're adding it to the chain. That's it. Okay. So this is how it is made. This is how the push information is made, and you just need to, you know, create the block info and you need to push it to the chain directly. Okay. So write this program and we are going to implement it in our
Please be in line. Raven sir will join soon. Students, now we can have a lunch break. We meet at 1:45 p.m. because there is current cut in the Ravensha's residence. So now we take a break for a lunch and we will meet on 1:45. Okay. You can meet.